This is going to be a tutorial on how to flash a mini2440, following instructions from several sources, one of them being the free electron embedded Linux training PDF, the other being uh, the book for the user manual for the mini 2440 if you ordered it. The and lastly, the embedded Linux training book, which is it's only this one. The embedded Linux for embedded and real-time applications. This is the latest, third edition. Okay, first, this is a Ubuntu 12.10, and the first thing to do is open terminal, and there is a CD. Also, there's a CD that was shipped with the Mini 2440 training. Um, if you bought the training book, there's a UDF volume CD, and then there's an embedded Linux CD. The embedded Linux CD is used with the user manual, and the UDF volume is used by the Linux for Embedded Real-Time Applications book. I think I had an issue with the file system from the UDF. Actually, it wasn't from the UDF. It was there's a substitute file system online that I had somewhat of an issue with, so I just used the file system from the CD. So that's why I'm following the instructions from the user manual and the Linux book. The instructions from the user manual are just pretty much simply to run the install script and the install tools script, just to get a just to get these folders in here: the factory image and busybox and some other things that get popular or get put onto your directory when you run the install and install tool script. Okay, let us start. Okay, opening terminal. Initially, I follow the free electron steps, which is to update your system. So sudo apt-get update. Here, oh, I don't have internet. Where's the internet for this place? Update system. And then update. After we run update and update distribution, I'm sure these two commands, we go skip those. I'm only using this free electron guide just to update the system and then get these common packages used for development. Just so when I'm trying to install something, it doesn't say, oh, you're missing this package. You know, this pretty much is a pretty good list of what you need to install on your system. It's missing GCC, but copy and paste. I've already actually installed all these, so and sudo apt get clean. Okay, done with this. Now I will follow instructions on installing or running the script from the CD, which if you're in Ubuntu, you put the CD embedded Linux in. It auto mounts to media embedded Linux. But if you're not running Ubuntu and you insert the CD, sometimes it depends on the system, but most systems auto mount the CD. But for some reason, if it doesn't, you want to create a directory, which I would stick with the default directory. Make directory media and then embedded Linux. You probably need to be root to do that. Hit enter. Once that's created, you can now mount the CD to it. Mount dev and then CD-ROM to media embedded Linux, and you need to be root to do that. And now your CD is mounted to media embedded Linux. Once that's the case, you want to run the script. So you have to be root shell media embedded Linux, install tools. You might want to use bash if shell doesn't let you install it. I've already installed this, so I'm not going to install it again. I could, but I'm not. Once that's done, you want to install tools, and you might want to use bash for Ubuntu. Shell worked, the sh worked for me, or shell command worked for me. Once this is installed, you're done with the instructions from the user manual. Now we're going to go to the Linux for Embedded Real-Time Applications book. The procedure is to connect all three cables, USB, serial to USB, and the Ethernet cable. And in Linux, it says in the Linux shell window, go to factory images. Factory images is on your home directory. And execute mini. Oh yeah, you have to install mini2440. And apt-get install minicom. We'll install minicom. I guess you also need to do a TFTP installation as well. I have a tutorial for TFTP installation, and I also just post this link, or either I'll post this link or I'll just link to my TFTP video, but I'll run through these really quick. I'm just following these instructions, nothing different. TFTPD, TFTP, and enter. I've already installed it, so and I'm going to edit this TFTP file. Oh, it's not even created. So I have to create this TFTP file. Actually, I don't have to create it. I didn't put an editor to read it. But normally this TFTP file isn't created, but I already created it. So, but if it's not created, you just run this command. If you don't have nano, you should have gedit, enter, and pretty much just copied this and pasted it here. The only thing I changed was my server arguments. I wanted to my TFTP directory to be in this location instead of that location. And save this file. And the third thing you do is create that directory, because the directory is not automatically created when you install it. Varlib tftp boot. Once you create that directory, you change user permissions for the directory, and then you change the owner to nobody. I like to do nobody in no group. TFTP, and then you start the sudo service. You can also run that command, but it's just shorter. Stop and start. And then to test, we have to just have write permission in this directory. So let's just list varlib tftp test and test it tftp localhost and git test. Okay, it worked. And there's test. And that's what we expect in test. Okay. Move test. Okay, and if it doesn't work pretty much I had issues with it working immediately, which you would see in the video, and it most of the time it pretty much just turns out to be you start and stop this XNet service. Just make sure you do that last after you enter your or edit the TFTP file, and make sure your permissions are set for whatever directory you use. Mine is this one, so that has to have rewrite privileges for the user nobody, and it should work. TFTPD should work. I had issues with there's other TFTP install TFTP. Yeah, I had issues with this one not working, so this one should work just following these instructions. Okay, now that that works, we now can follow these instructions. The procedure is to connect all the cables, USB to serial, and the Ethernet cable. Go to the factory images directory, which should be on your home directory. Execute mini W and another shell. I'm supposed to that directory, and as root user, which there is no password for root user on Ubuntu, so just when you're gonna execute the script, just use sudo. And this it says power up the board in NOR mode. Hit D, and in the other shell window, it's saying execute the boot USB. So sudo boot USB uboot bin. Hopefully it executes. And no, it did not. The something. I'll try. Hopefully the script is online because I don't have that UDF volume CD with me. Downloads. the exact same as U-boot, different. This looks exactly the same. Why is this not working? Waiting for download. There's something I have to do with this USB. Factory. Source code for boot USB. I think I know what it is. I don't have, or hopefully this is it. I need this lib USB. Lib USB dev. So I'm gonna install this lib USB dev, and hopefully it actually runs. Okay. Still nothing. Or directory. Okay, I'm gonna try to figure this out.